basically this is a moto vlog, and I'll get to that. But bear with me for a second. I'm actually in Wood, West Virginia, celebrating my mom's 80th birthday party. And I don't know if you can see in the back, I've got two dogs, Fritz and Bruce, with me. It's been good just to have the week to spend with her, kind of get out of routine a little bit. And I woke up yesterday morning with kind of this realization, or if you will, that I've changed a bit. I kind of looked in the mirror and visually saw a change. And I think over the past few months, like, you make these small subconscious decisions based on kind of where you are as a person. And then all of a sudden, those little decisions that you've made kind of culminate into an outward visible change. And so it wasn't necessarily intentional, but this has actually happened a couple times in my life. This time was kind of a little bit more subtle, but the most drastic one was probably like 2005 or 2006. And I had started going to a new church and met some new people. And I was playing in the band. And one of the guys I met was like, "Hey, I'd like you to come out. Some of my friends are playing some music. I think you'd enjoy it. Let's hang out," kind of thing. And at that time, I had a plan for my life. It was going very well. Everything was working great, and really was very comfortable. And so I went and I saw the show, and it was interesting. Almost like halfway through the show, it was like this light bulb moment, that something was different. And I don't really know how to describe it, but over the course of those 2 years, starting kind of with that show, doing some overseas mission trips, and kind of interacting with new people, there was a subconscious shift that started to happen. And then one day you look in the mirror and you realize, like, politically you've changed, spiritually you've changed, your views of the world have changed, and that's also manifested itself kind of in the way you look, and the way you dress, and the way you carry yourself. And at that time for me, it was very drastic. It was a very drastic change, not intentional. It just kind of happened as a result of an inward shift. And I think that's happened very much to a small degree, but again, in the sense that kind of in talking with my wife and in evaluating kind of where we are and all the things that we're pursuing, we've made a decision to try to go deep instead of wide in life, if that makes sense. And so instead of focusing on doing a lot of different things, which is a lot of fun, we want to really focus on pouring time and our resources into the few things that we're really passionate about. And kind of doubling down on those and trying to do them well with excellence. And in order to do that, a lot of the other periphery stuff, you just don't have time for, and it takes up room, it takes up space. The more hobbies you're into, the more stuff you have, the more energy goes into it. It can actually make things that you're really trying to pursue suffer. And so that's kind of like the underlying subconscious, if you will, ethos behind it. And then as a result of that, your outward view of kind of what it is you're doing and where you're spending your time and what you're working on kind of shifts a bit. One of the biggest things is I did wind up selling the Porsche. I was actually in the middle of making a video about it. I'm very passionate about Porsche. I'm very fortunate to have owned two 996 versions of the 911, and I absolutely love the 996. It is my favorite, if you will, my favorite Porsche model. I just absolutely love it. I've loved both of the ones that I have owned. This most recent 996, I actually just kind of scoured the country. I wanted a special one, and I drove to Texas to get it. Actually, I flew to Texas, picked the vehicle up, and drove it back to Jacksonville, Florida. And the previous owner from the factory had basically checked every box as to what options that you could get. It was decked out, all carbon fiber. Anyway, a car I was very passionate about, absolutely enjoyed driving. And people that aren't Porsche people had no idea that that car was 21 years old. It looked like a brand new car. That's one of the things I really love about Porsche, is that the look of it is timeless. So like, kind of, if you think of what a car looks like, in my opinion, that quintessential 911 look, that is car to me. I've owned a lot of other different vehicles in my life, and just been something I've been passionate about since I was a teenager. I've been lucky enough to own two 1969 Mach 1 Mustangs. Absolutely loved owning those vehicles. And then as you get different vehicles and sell them and flip them, and you kind of figure out where your, what speaks to you. And for me, as far as automobile goes, I am a diehard Porsche fanatic. But that car did not fit our lifestyle after a while. So after owning it for a bit and really enjoying it, I decided to sell it. It was a hard decision to make. It still stings a little, but we have 3 rescue dogs and then one dog that we own. So now we have 4 dogs. One of them just showed up. We kind of found him in the middle of the road. And we really love pouring into these dogs, taking them with us. Doesn't really work with a Porsche. My wife also has gotten vertigo, and she was unable to ride in it at all. So for us, the Porsche had become about as practical as the motorcycles. And I'm really into motorcycles, always have been. And so why have all of these things that's kind of distracting you, if you will, from focusing on the thing you want to focus on? Now, if I was just wanting to focus on Porsche, that'd be one thing. But this is just something I had because I was passionate about it. It's expensive, takes up room in the garage. And so we discussed it. I made the decision, I'm going to sell the Porsche. So I started doing some videos about it because I wanted to create some content, and just for me to remember and, to have once it was gone. And that thing sold instantly. I think I only had it up 2 days, and someone came, paid cash for it, bought the Porsche, which is exciting. It's kind of what I want. I was hoping to have a little bit more time to kind of create some content, do some stuff around it. But I enjoyed it. I would like to just go out to the garage and look at it. Just a beautiful, beautiful vehicle. Maybe I'll own another one in the future. Who knows? Maybe I won't. The other thing is I'm discovering kind of what I like to do with vehicles, what I'm into, and having something that is pristine is kind of not where I am in life right now. I like kind of the aesthetic of us in our house, and we have a mid-century house. We go antiquing on the weekends. Almost every weekend we go antiquing, trying to find stuff. We like things that show love and show wear and show character, and having a vehicle that is in pristine condition, that you're trying to maintain as such, it's like not super practical, honestly, for our lifestyle, especially having dogs, etc. And then trying to kind of make that thing pristine on the weekends. It's just not, it's not what we're into. And so if I do another one, I kind of am more into a kind of a more street, gnarlier style, even with the motorcycles. I like them to look nice and be nice, but I also am starting to move away from the cafe racer look and a little bit more into the dirt look, like a little bit more aggressive, take them out, play around with them, and have fun. And that's just what I'm into and what I'm enjoying. And so as that internal shift is happening, it didn't really make sense to keep the car. And so sold it, and then started to get into the market for a truck. As you see, I'm driving a truck. At first I was thinking that I really wanted a FJ60 Land Cruiser. So I did a bunch of research. That was what was in my head, because I already have a truck. I have a 1966 F100, and then going back again to consolidating, F100 runs great, drives great. I use it all the time. I'm hauling rocks in it. I'm putting stuff in it, taking it to the dump. a great truck. It needs a few minor electrical things that we're working on, but mechanically, it's in perfect condition. And so, in my mind, I didn't need a truck. What I needed was another SUV. Loved SUVs. I've always been into Jeeps. And we decided not to do another Jeep. Now, I think I've owned 6 or 7 Jeeps. I've owned 2 Rubicons, another Unlimited, 2 CJ7s, and a bunch of Grand Cherokees. I've always just loved the Jeep brand, been into it, and a couple of things have kind of changed my mind on Jeep lately. One of those things is I think Jeep as a brand has shifted from kind of what I've been excited about. Jeep is just different as a brand now. I don't really know how to put my finger on it, but I feel that, like, if you see me upside down, turn me over, that hippie kind of vibe is gone, and the vibe of Jeep now is just a very, I don't know, it's off-putting to me, and so that's kind of one aspect that turned me off of Jeep. And the past 2 Rubicons that we owned when we were in Montana, and driving back and forth from Montana to Jacksonville, and my daughter lives in Wyoming, so we drive from Jacksonville to Wyoming a lot. They're awful on the road. They are awful highway vehicles. Great for around town, awesome off-road. They're very expensive. And I think, just for me, I'm not saying, for other people, depending on what your purpose is, but for me, for what you're paying for, I didn't feel like I was getting a vehicle that I was comfortable with. And my wife hated the Rubicons. Just absolutely hated driving them, hated them on the highway. She didn't like them at all. And so I wanted something that we were both comfortable with, we were both happy with. And so I rolled out Jeep. Interestingly enough. So, started looking around, thought I wanted an FJ60, thought I wanted a Land Cruiser. Obviously, the Defenders, never owned a Defender, I've owned a lot of different things, never owned a Defender, but because of how much highway driving we do, how many road trips we do, Defender is an around-town vehicle, ruled the Defenders out. There's actually a dealership in Jacksonville that has a lot of Defenders, and I would just drool over them, but it's not working for the purpose of what it is we needed to do. Land Cruisers are expensive, and especially in this market right now, and getting into the motorcycles, really started thinking of having 2 trucks, which seems bizarre, but once I saw how much back seat room was in a full size, either the Chevy or the Ford, it kind of ticks the boxes for me. I can throw the dogs in the back seat, plus have the bed to put motorcycles in, and with the bed cover, it covers the need that I would have for the FJ60. And so what we decided to do was go with a Ford F-150. I've always been a Ford guy. I have not liked the few Chevys that I've had. Just my personal experience was very bad. 100% bad experience with them for me. 100% good experience with Ford. I don't know, your mileage may vary, but that's just for me. So decided on full-size F-150, and I really do love the Toyota Tacoma. I have friends with Tacomas. Would have been practical. They're also kind of pricey in this market. I thought for what it was we wanted, an F-150 would get more bang for the buck. So, did some research, went online, looked at everything, and I wound up picking a couple dealers that had a decent quantity of the models that I was looking for in F-150. So, planned out my day, showed up to the first dealer, and they had 4 vehicles on my spreadsheet that I had taken to the dealership. 2 had sold the previous day. 1 had just been taken back into processing for someone who was trying to buy it. So they had 1 left on the lot that was on my list to look at. Looked at it. Parked beside this was this Raptor. Parked beside the F-150 I was looking at. Now, the Raptor was not even on my list. I knew about them. didn't know that much about them. It's not something that I was like super passionate about. And it's out of my price range. But after driving them back to back, looking at the Raptor, I absolutely fell in love with it. Obviously, we do some off-roading, but I'm not buying it to be a Baja off-road vehicle. I'm buying the Raptor to be a vehicle that will cover the needs that we have. Now, my wife's family has property. We go out there, take the bikes out there. We do some off-roading. There's a lot of dirt roads, but you don't really need a Raptor for that. But what the Raptor gives, with the other than upgraded components, top to bottom, amazing resale value, you basically get all the upgrades that you would want to do, but covered, done from the factory, and you have a wider stance. So if you like to drive fast and you like to drive on the highway, I feel like the Raptor is a more comfortable highway ride. I feel like, for me, I just like the way that it drives. I'm right now driving on some back curvy roads up in West Virginia, and I'm able to take these things with minimal body roll. That extra 7 inches of width really does inspire confidence, and I just feel like it is an amazing vehicle. I actually, pound for pound, the Raptor versus the 2 Rubicons that I've owned, I feel like this thing is way more solidly built. I feel like it is super stable. It's just an amazing truck. And was it a little bit over my budget? Yeah, it was. I feel like I'm more than getting that in value for what it was. Now, this is a 2017. It's not brand new. New ones are astronomically expensive, and they had it priced really well. And the reason, and it just happened to be that it had come in the day before on a trade. Someone had tried to buy it the night before and their financing fell through. They had 2 people who had called that were coming in to look at it, and they were priced it right because they had a 2021 Raptor that they were trying to sell for $110,000. So a used Raptor for $110,000 that they were trying to get rid of. And this one obviously was going to prevent the other one from selling. So that's where we are. That's that's what's happening. And a little slide out there because I'm not in 4-wheel drive. But anyway, I love the vehicle. I'm excited to create some more content with it. I'm excited that it really is fitting in with the direction to focus in on the things that we're doing, and just enjoying it, enjoying driving it. My wife absolutely loves it. She loves to drive it. She does not feel sick in it with her vertigo. We're sitting up high. She feels stable, and she feels like this is a vehicle that just works for us. And she can drive it. So it's great having a vehicle that I'm not the only person who can drive it and the only person who can ride in it. So that's where we are vehicle-wise, and we could not be happier with our decision. So pleased with where we are and what it is we're doing. The dogs love it. They like having those seats that fold up. They can be in the back, and I can kind of take them with me wherever I go. And as I said, I think in life sometimes these decisions are made not because you've created some plan and you are trying to accomplish all these things and you lay it all out. Sometimes it's just a subconscious shift, like this is kind of what we want to do, this is our ethos, and the decisions just start happening as a result of that foundational shift, and you don't have to overthink it.